spice on and beautiful morning out there. Hardly a cloud in the sky. Yeah, man. It's going to be a great day, great day. But I hope that we're not going to use this to forget what the people in the Bahamas are going through. And this morning, we're going to spend some time taking a look at some of the devastation that's taking place out there in the Bahamas. I do have a couple of short videos that I'm going to share with you. And in addition to that, some big talk these days coming out of Antigua. It's captioned here, the Antigua Prime Minister says that customers of Scotiabank should not repay their loans if the bank closes. Huh? Yes, Sherron, you heard me. That's the news out there. That's the news out there. I'm going to read a little story for you about that. Do have the national report, and of course, don't usually do this at this point, but let's take a quick look. There she is. There. You think she's in Canada or someplace, huh? Well, it's not a sweater. Okay, I thought it was. Anyhow, before I start showing you these videos, which I will be momentarily, let me say good morning to the pilgrims out there on Facebook this morning. Boy, I don't know what's happening, but it seems like pretty much every day this week. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is her 4th or 5th time being the first to log on. Hazel Ferguson. Does anybody even know Hazel Ferguson? If you know this lady, find out whether or not she sleeps with her computer or iPhone or iPad right next to her. 4 or 5 times in a row. Number 1 to log on. Let's see who else is there. Peter Bishop's also saying good morning. Anthony Riggs is also there. Anthea Rollo. Hello there, Anthea. And, Chester Simon's there. Benedict Cador's there. Sawandi Fabio Sam. I'm trying to figure out what the heck nationality is that. Sawandi Fabio or Fabio Sam. Nice to have you, buddy. Say good morning to us. John Keniston is out there. He says my audio is like I'm in an empty hall, echoey. Okay. We're gonna try and resolve that. That's my bad, John. It should be a lot better now. It helps when you plug your microphone in, your wireless microphone. Still trying to get used to these little gadgets, but I sure hope it's a lot better now, okay? Margaret Francis is saying good morning, everyone. Kipling is saying good morning and sending his blessings. And of course, inviting you folks to share the program. He says, how come we're not talking about the hurricane that is killing the country? Hurricane fear and intimidation. Yeah. Oh, Kipling. Can't help it, can you? Okay. Let's see here. Margaret saying good morning. John is saying your AC must be fixed as Sherron has her jacket on. Yes, you know something, John? The AC has been fixed. But since yesterday, this thing's, you don't believe me? Let me turn it on for a minute. Turning it on, and you're going to hear the noise this little baby is making. You're going to hear the noise. I got to get these people back in. They usually come the day after you call them, but I'm going to call today, so maybe tomorrow they'll be back in. Listen to that.
Helicopter.
You hear that noise? That's the air conditioning. Yeah. And I'm sitting in here sweating, but I can't take the noise, so we're going to turn it off. Hazel is saying the audio is a lot better, and let's see here. So Wendy says, Fabio is a nickname from a short stint in modeling. Born and bred Guav man. Hello, Guav. Yeah, man, the city that never sleeps, yeah. Haven't been up there to your Fish Friday in a long time. Is that still around? Haven't been up there in a long time. Find out from Sherron in a little while. He says, I'm in the land where the president thinks it's possibly to nuke the hurricane to get rid of it. This world, after Donald Trump, this world will never be the same again. Never be the same. Boom. Okay, and Bernard's also chiming in. Alrighty, folks, let's get down to brass tacks. And let me start by showing you something I got from the Guardian website last night in the UK. John, you'd be happy to see this. We're putting a lot of trust in the British newspapers. Take a look at some of the footage of the destruction which has taken place in the Bahamas. This is the first of two videos, by the way.
This is Marsh Harbor. That's the mud. Marsh Harbor.
All right, so that's the first of two pieces that I want to run by you this morning. Images that were taken yesterday after airplanes started being able to get at least close to the Bahamas. Okay, I haven't checked to see what's happening this morning, but I understand that the eastern seaboard of the United States, in particular Florida, even though this thing seems to be moving a little bit to the north, their turn. All right. So Wandy says, this is quite saddening. In fact, it is. And Donna Joseph is saying, good morning, one and all, on this great platform. Well, thank you very much, Donna. It's great because you're part of it. Oh, you and Sherron, you guys make this. Hilda, here's a name. Is this a makeup name? Hilda Wells. Hilda Wells. Nice to see you. I'm George Grant. How you doing? Grant. Wells. Claude Putner says, good morning to you, Mr. Grant and class. I'm praying for the people of the Bahamas. Yes, sirree, we all are. Well, at least a lot of us are. So let's take a look at the second clip. And these images were also shot. All right. Thank you very much, Brandon Clement of LSM and also The Guardian for the use of those videos. Man, isn't that horrendous? Isn't that horrendous? You know what made this storm so much worse than Ivan? Ivan 1 was a Category 3. Ivan came over, didn't stop, just came right over Grenada, kept on going. This young man, Dorian, once he got to the Bahamas, he decided, all right, let me put my butt down here and sit here for a little while. And he spent more than a day, just pounding. I said, Ivan was 130 miles an hour, the winds were. This bugger, 185 miles an hour. And those are sustained winds. We're not talking about peak gusts. I understand that the peak gusts were up to over 225 miles an hour. See a few notes here. Ryan says that he has vacationed on Awalukaya Golf Coast Resort in the Bahamas. Well, I don't know how well they fared. And he also says the Bahamas needs our help. Boy, do they ever. Hilda says, oh my God, it seems that everything gone. Just about, Hilda, just about. These folks don't just need prayer. They need a lot more. They need a lot more. John says the internet is dropping out. And I hope you guys are not having that issue. Let me see here. Let me check here and see if I have. I know the program is going out, but what's happening with Facebook? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. And see, yeah, there it is. So we're doing pretty good so far. Okay, folks. So Fitzroy Adams, by the way, has joined us. And so has Samantha McFarland Thomas. Good to see you folks. Break number 1, then we'll come back with your national report.
Because your vehicle is a necessity, being roadworthy is critical. Hubbard's Motor Department introduces its new tire and battery sales and service outlet located at Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, close to the Sugar Mill Roundabout. Available are a wide range of competitively priced tires, maintenance-free batteries, oils and lubricants. Keeping in mind your busy schedule, this outlet is equipped to provide you with fast and reliable service. Simply drive in and you'll be delighted with your service experience. For more information, contact 440-2087. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Quad Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and the Food Fair Supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's Hardware, Food Fair Supermarkets, and the Grenadian General Insurance, an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan.
Government of Grenada pledges 100,000 US dollars for initial relief effort in the Bahamas. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, September 3rd, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. The government of Grenada has pledged 100,000 US dollars to the immediate relief effort for the people of the Bahamas. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell said on Tuesday the decision was taken at the weekly cabinet meeting on Monday. Dr. Mitchell said Grenada's contribution is in keeping with an agreement among leaders of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States that all members will make a similar pledge. Dr. Mitchell has been in direct communication with his Bahamian counterpart, Prime Minister Hubert Minnis, expressing solidarity and support for the government and people of the Bahamas. The Prime Minister said, and I quote, "It is a particularly difficult time for the people of the Bahamas, given the level of devastation we have witnessed. The real picture is not yet known, but what we do know is that in times like these, we have to be our brother's keeper." 15 years ago, when Grenada was battered by Hurricane Ivan, many rushed to our aid, and today we are in a position to help our Caribbean brother. I have given assurances to my colleague Prime Minister that the government and people of Grenada stand ready and willing to assist in any way possible, unquote. When he addressed the opening of a regional conference here on Tuesday, Dr. Mitchell also spoke of the situation in the Bahamas. He said, and I quote again, "Hurricane Ivan flattened Grenada with winds of 120 miles per hour. By contrast, Hurricane Dorian slammed into the Bahamas with winds of 185 miles per hour, and at one point the system did not move for several hours. Now this is a phenomenon we have not seen before, and it may force us to rethink the whole concept of disaster management," unquote. Dr. Mitchell has encouraged Grenadians at home and abroad to keep their Bahamian brothers and sisters in their thoughts and prayers. In addition to government's pledge, Grenadians have a chance to contribute to the Bahamas relief effort. The National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, has reactivated its disaster relief account, and monetary donations can be made there. The account is at the Grenada Cooperative Bank, the number 121004900. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell has identified transformational leadership and human capital development as critical factors in achieving improved project implementation rates in Grenada and other Caribbean countries. Speaking at the start of the Caribbean Development Bank's regional conference on project cycle management, Dr. Mitchell cited a need to amplify efforts to build institutional capacity and bridge competency gaps in the public service. He appealed for an urgent move away from working in silos to a whole-of-government approach.
As we brainstorm the best way to achieve the desired improvements in project management, delivery, and implementation, it's evident that transformational leadership, new ways of working to deliver improved results, and human capital are critical levers for strengthening our developmental process. We note, too, the evidence that points to significant deficits in these key areas. We must therefore focus on improving human and institutional capacity, efficiency, and service delivery to revolutionize the way we work and conduct our business. It follows, therefore, that there must be a radical shift in the culture of the public service across the region to better support the results and to drive performance.
Grenada has partnered with the CDB to host a conference, and the Prime Minister underscored the significance of the event, saying the rate of project implementation and delivery continues to be a fundamental problem facing Caribbean governments. He also called on public sector leaders and managers to take ownership in the process of change as countries prepare for further growth and development. Dr. Mitchell added, and I quote, "There is no disputing the fact that improved public sector implementation performance plays a vital role in transforming the economic growth and development of Grenada and other Caribbean countries," unquote. In her Tuesday's opening ceremony, CDB's Vice President of Operations, Ms. Marla Bennett, said project cycle management training has been an area of focus for the bank over the last 2 years, with the intention being to improve management, monitoring, and implementation of policies, programs, and projects across the region. She disclosed that more than 2,000 civil servants in the CDB's 19 borrowing member countries have benefited from the training.
CDB acknowledges that implementation of development projects is a major challenge across our region. Slow implementation hinders the delivery of tangible development results to our populations. Through this training program, the bank has been promoting the use of new frameworks and tools to facilitate innovative approaches to speedier project implementation. We envisage that such changes will accelerate progress towards attainment of our country's development goals, including significant reduction in poverty and inequality.
This is the National Report News after the break.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
Continuing the news, Grenadians will have access to free medical care and surgical procedures for 1 week when the U.S. Naval Hospital ship Comfort docks in Grenada from September 15th to 20th. It comes less than a year after the second visit to Grenada by the Chinese hospital ship Ark Peace in October 2018, when more than 9,000 Grenadians received care. Addressing the media on Tuesday, Linda Taliala-Taylor, the U.S. ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, said hundreds of surgical procedures will be done on board the ship, while consultations and minor procedures will be done at the National Stadium and the Youth Center.
The hospital will be, and the medical clinics will be open from the 15th through the 20th. And as I say, I can tell you that in previous countries where they've been on a 5-month tour. They've been in some 10 countries doing very similar work, that they have done anywhere from 1,000 to 1,800 visits a day at the clinics. So we plan on opening up services to everyone as possible, given the time constraints and the amount of work that needs to be done.
Services will be provided in ophthalmology, general surgery, urology, orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, and wound care. Senior Medical Officer Dr. Francis Martin says a referral from a doctor is not necessary.
Persons do not necessarily need a referral, although if you have a referral from your physician, it makes it easier for the healthcare providers on the ship to navigate you through the system. But even if you do not have a referral from your physician, you can actually simply show up at the sites. You will be triaged at the sites, and your service requirements will be noted, and you'll be taken through the system. Just a quick examples of things that will be done, and I want to say this because we really want persons who have the problems to come and get the services. We have a short time, it's 5 days, and we don't really want people who need the services not getting it. So if you do not have a problem, I don't think you should, well, I don't want to say don't show up, but I think you understand what I mean. Let's allow persons who actually have problems to get in.
Health Minister, the Honorable Nicholas Steele, is confident that Grenada's health sector will benefit from the partnership with the U.S. naval ship. Over 500 Grenadians will be treated daily at the 2 medical sites and on the ship.
We're here to maximize the benefit. I think that is a responsibility of Dr. Martin and myself to make sure with whatever resources we have to maximize the benefit of it. So this is one additional resource for 5 days that we will maximize.
The 894-foot vessel is being operated by the Military Sealift Command. 4 new schools will be constructed and major repair work will be undertaken on 5 others under the Grenada Education Enhancement or GEEP project. The project embraces expansion and rehabilitation work for schools, institutional strengthening and capacity building across Grenada's education system. Addressing the media during Tuesday's post-cabinet briefing, Education Minister the Honourable Emmeline Pear assured of her government's commitment to ensure that work is undertaken on the institutions for an atmosphere that is conducive to learning.
Work is well underway as it relates to designs, as it relates to the start of actual work on the ground, and we are progressing nicely there. That being said, I cannot say this morning that I'm satisfied, I'm happy with where we are, and probably I'll never be able to say that because of the number of schools that we have throughout the island, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. But what I can say to you is that this government is extremely committed to the issue of ensuring that we have a conducive environment for teaching and learning.
19 schools were approved for major repair work. This is currently ongoing at the Bonaire Government, Victoria Preschool, Victoria School for Special Education, SAS, St. Andrew Methodist, and St. Michael RC. Minor work is being undertaken by Financial Complex Limited at St. Paul's Government, St. Michael RC, Current Government, St. David's RC, and SJC in Grenville. 3 new preschools are also to be constructed. The groundbreaking ceremony has already been held for one of the schools, and Holy Cross RC has already completed to the tune of 5.3 million EC dollars. Concerned about the dwindling numbers there, Minister Pierre is appealing to parents to return their children to the school now that they have been given a new facility. And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
Alrighty, folks, I'll tell you what, just before we move on, we got some housekeeping to take care of. First of all, just hang on a sec. Okay. A little while ago, I told you I was going to tell you about Prime Minister Gaston Brown, and I totally forgot about that. I guess I still have some seawater in my head from this morning. This lady dumped me. And I'm going to share that with you right now before I get to the comments from the National Report. Prime Minister Gaston Brown says he will ask Scotiabank customers, this is Antigua, right, not to repay their loans if the bank ends its operations in Antigua and Barbuda. The government said last week that the Canadian bank has threatened to close down over government's reaction to its decision to sell to Republic Financial Holdings in Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Brown told his radio program over the weekend that there will be consequences for Scotia if they close. And I quote here, "Now, if Scotiabank closes their branch here, they have to pay back all the depositors $500 million US dollars. Then about $300 million US dollars that they have in loans. It may take them 20 years to collect those loans. And I can tell you, if they make that kind of decision, I will tell all Antiguans and Barbudans who have mortgages and car loans not to pay them," unquote. Mr. Brown, who is also the finance minister, told radio listeners that if Scotiabank takes debtors to court over non-payment, they will also lose money. Let me quote again. "Let them go to court. You know what will happen. They will lose a few $100 million. And that jackass who wrote to me, he will lose his work because it will reduce Scotiabank's bank value. They will be better off walking away and giving up the bank for $1 than to lock it down," said Mr. Brown. Republic Holdings has said that it won't sell any of the shares in Scotiabank to Antigua and has indicated to Scotiabank that it is no longer interested in purchasing the Antigua branch. Brown said that he is confident that Scotiabank will sell to a local bank, but says the bank's attitude towards the sale is partially racial. Again, let me quote Prime Minister Brown. "As I said to you, They are contemptuous of us. And that is where I draw the line. It is partly racial. They think a little black boy down here in Antigua and Barbuda telling them, look, you must sell to local banks, and they vex. Even considering the Republic Bank has said to them that they are no longer interested. They're writing to me, telling me that they still selling to Republic Bank, when the law gives me, as the finance minister, the right to approve the sale. So says Mr. Brown. Kind of militant, don't you think? Your money. All right. Let me get now to Facebook. Now, I'm anxious to get to Sherron, but got to get to Facebook. Ryan is helping us out here with an update on Tropical Storm Dorian. He says it's 110 miles out in the Atlantic off Cape Canaveral. In my central Florida area, we're now getting 50-mile-an-hour winds and spurts of pelting rain. It's a slow hurricane. John Bruno is saying good morning. Directly to the GIS now. Kipling says, seems to me that we are moving away from the Eastern currency. Every project is funded in U.S. currency. Is we begging so? Or just continually borrowing? Just asking. John Kennison here. John, you're very alert. John says, read the post-cabinet briefing. No apology from the press secretary. I see. John, I am glad that you weren't holding your breath, because if you were, you wouldn't be sitting here with us this morning. Please don't hold your breath, John. John Bruno says, how can we talk about developing the public service when he's hell-bent on destroying the system here? John. These two Johns are really on the ball this morning. Let's see. Ryan says, 5 days USA medical ship in Grenada should help the poor and sick. Let's hope so, Ryan. Margaret says, Gaston Brown is definitely out of his cotton-picking mind. You tell him, Mags. Gaston, you're out of your cotton-picking mind. Expect a call, Margaret. Benedict Cador says, how is that legal? Scotiabank. And he says, I think he's lost all his marbles. Ooh. John is saying here, John Kennison says, does that mean Gaston Brown is not going to pay the country's loans? Time will tell, John. Brown has a big chip on both shoulders, he continues. And Ryan says, PM Antigua makes some interesting points. Or Antigua's PM makes some interesting points. Scotiabank Antigua may be sold to a local bank. Don't know. All right. Folks, I've kept this lady waiting long enough. Let me take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and say good morning to Sherron. Tell you how she walked on water this morning. You remember a guy named Jesus Christ? We have the female version here. I saw her walking on water this morning. Snake.
Good morning, Grenlek Meter Reader.
Morning, Mr. Meterman. I'm glad I caught you. Last month, I got a very high bill, and I don't understand why.
Last month, we were not able to access your meter, so we had to estimate the bill. This will happen if we don't get an actual reading.
So what can I do to ensure that my meter is easily accessible?
Well, you can get your licensed electrician to move your meter outside of the gate or directly in front of the house. That way, I'll have easy access and I won't have to deal with your dog.
Ah, Butch.
Yes, dogs can be a problem sometimes. On one occasion, I was attacked by a dog, and police had to get involved. Customers who don't want to cage or tie their dogs should really move their meter and make it easily accessible.
Well, I'll consider that.
Thank you.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
Mm-mm. I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this. Where you get that? At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency.
All right, here she is. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
How are you doing?
I'm sleepy.
You're sleepy after that invigorating
Oh my
sea
gosh.
bath this morning?
It was too much. And then I had to do a sprint. No, guys, I have no issue with seeing fish in the water. I bathe with the fish. They come and they try to pick at my swimsuit because I have this blue swimsuit, so I don't know if they think I'm their mommy or what. But I didn't expect to see a snake in the water. And because I know the snakes of Central America, like in Belize, we have a snake called the coral snake, which is beautiful. It's white and black and orange. And I look down and I see this thing, and the next thing I knew, I was on the sand.
Folks, the snake was about...
A snake is a snake is a snake.
About that long. It was like, I think it was a gray snake with black rings around it.
It was black with white and orange.
Sherron is a little sea snake. What I found a little bit unnerving was those little fish that, you know, they came nibbling at you and all over the place.
Well, you're in
They're
the
friendly.
sea. You're in the sea. You're supposed to see fish. I don't want to see snake in the sea. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. All right. Benedict Cadora says, George, it takes energy to walk on water. Well, she had a lot of energy, Benedict.
To be honest, I never knew I could move that fast.
You know, I'm wondering what with Margaret's. We have to bring Margaret down for a sea bath and throw a snake in the water.
Next time she's here.
Yeah.
No. I used to play jab in the days of snake and thing, and I didn't have an issue. Snake belong to the land. I can hold it in the back of the head. I am good. You're not coming and sneak up on me in the sea. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to say, I so love Gaston Brown.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why do you love Gaston so much?
He don't hold his punches. He say it as it is. You know, one of my favorite prime ministers in in the Caribbean is Ralph Gonzalez. And because Ralph see it as he see it. I mean, he has his issues, the people of St. Vincent have the issues, and I recognize some of his faults. But I rather somebody come and tell me as it is, to be grinning, and behind that grin is Beelzebub. You know, so I like Gaston Brown. And these people, they have to have more respect than that for the small islands and the prime ministers. You know, you cannot just say what you're doing, especially when you have a procedure. He, as a Minister of Finance, have to say, okay, yes, go ahead and sell. You telling him you're selling. He's there to protect the rights of the people. And you want to be upstart enough to think, I mean, yes, it's madness to say not to pay your loan. But it make me wish I was in Antigua. But I mean, seriously, I think it is a bit racist, and they have to have more respect for these little islands. I've been there. I've been in the system, and I have seen the lack of respect. I have seen people who pick up and decide, oh, I'm going to see the Prime Minister. And I ask, do you have an appointment? And I say, no. It's not as if he's the President of France or nothing. I had to say, he is my President of France. I don't care how much I don't like the man or whatever it is. The position has to be respected.
Protocol.
Of course. So I can't give him all wrong. I can't give him all wrong. He has to stand up for the people.
Benedict Cador says here, he still cannot tell people not to pay back your loan.
That's what I'm saying. That's madness. But he have to try something. He have to try and get them to not sell if it's in the benefit of the people, or sell it to a local bank. I mean, soon nothing gonna belong to your country, you know. With all this weird people that coming in and doing as they please. Look at the Chinese in St. Lucia. St. Lucians have no right in St. Lucia anymore.
There are people who believe that Gaston has a chip on his shoulder, okay?
I wouldn't say he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he has a screw slack.
He's a screw slack, or a slack screw.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let me tell you something. I agree with that. But you know, Sherron, and you have seen it just as well as I have, we depend a lot on foreigners in terms of foreign investment, et cetera, et cetera. Not just investment and how. And let me tell you, there are a lot of foreigners who live in this country who over the years have become very, very dear friends of mine. Okay, some of them online here with us right now. But you know, Sherron, there's some foreigners here who have come with a level of arrogancy.
I know.
And they look down on, quote, the natives. And I think that attitude sucks.
You know, one of the
Who
things...
don't like it, don't like it. You vex, vex.
Exactly.
It's the truth. I sometimes tell people the majority of my friends when I came back to this country were people from the United States, from Canada, from England, from wherever, all over the world. Those are the people I used to hang out a lot with. But there's some people, you know that.
I know that.
But there's some people who talk down in very condescending ways to locals in their land. Truth be told, it pisses me off.
Exactly. I was thinking just now that I was going to say exactly what you said. But then I said, maybe I shouldn't say it, so maybe I should say it gets me angry. Well, guess what? It pissed me off. Because one of the things that I should say re-stimulate me is when you hear somebody from one of these countries come and, hey, oh, I like Grenada, I think I'm staying. I said, what? I decide not to go back, I'm living here. You can't do that in their country. Now they're talking about making cutting off the green card and all that. I don't know. I do not understand. Much respect to you, my countrymen who are out in their countries. I do not understand what you see, especially those who live in Brooklyn. What in God's name you see in that country? I cannot see it. I lived in foreign countries, but you always find me coming home. And now that I'm home, I cannot see what I had to negotiate when I marry a foreigner. I am not leaving my country. You are welcome to stay in mine, but after you become a Grenadian.
Ryan Jabon says, Gigi, they are arrogant to us here in the USA too.
I could imagine.
Margaret says, and to those who are condescending, I never hesitate to put them in their place.
I could just see her doing
I
that.
could just see Max standing up on the table. She also says here, I think this goes back to the Scotia issue. She says, I hear your argument re the lack of respect. However, Scotia as a private entity has a right to do what it wants with its business. Scotia could have packed up and left. What I would concede is that Scotia could have given them first preference on the sale.
Exactly. You know, and it is in the Prime Minister as the Minister for Finance to say, yeah, go ahead and sell, or we would like to purchase. Now, if they cannot purchase, you could pull out or whatever it is. And there must be some contract stating that. I mean, I love the idea of not paying back a loan, but the reality is you have to. If you don't pay back now, isn't it going to come back at you later when you might not be working to pay back a loan? So he has to rethink, but I like a lot of his thinking.
Gaston. Okay, we'll set up a luncheon date with you and Gaston. Somebody named, Ian Roberts says, modern day colonialism. Government is selling our birthright to foreign investors.
Exactly.
And that's the honest truth. Who vex, vex. Depending on foreign investors is a form of laziness. It's the same as having someone else do your homework. Where is the vision? Where is the confidence in those who are investing in education? Benedict Cador says, I think that we are dealing with two different issues. We should demand respect, but we cannot give illegal advice.
I agree with him.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Anthony DeRigg says, Sherron, many stay in Brooklyn because of medical needs.
Really? You know, there's so many Grenadians out there who are doctors and medicals, which brings me to the boat, you know, and I agree with you. I'll give you an example. A young student from St. George University stopped one day on the road. There was this freak storm here in Grenada. And I noticed where I was living at the time in St. David, I noticed the traffic building up, but I couldn't figure out what it was. And then we heard that the rain that we had earlier that day caused landslides, both in the bottom road going to Wester Hall and in the top road going to St. Paul's. So traffic was blocked. And this young lady came and she asked me, can she use my bathroom? Her grandmother is with her visiting from St. Vincent, she said. So I said, of course, and they came in and the rain started to pelt down, so they were sheltering. And I noticed the lady looking at me in this peculiar way, so I said, what happened? She said, who are your parents? And when I told her, she said, you remind me of my family. So I said, what part of St. Vincent are you from? She said, I'm really from Beckway. I said, well, guess what? My grandmother is from Beckway. She was an Olivier from Beckway. She said, what's her name? I said, Bettina Olivier. She said, oh my God, that's my Nan Bertie, that's my aunt, and da-da-da. And then I found out who she was. This young lady was attending St. George University. And then she asked me if I ever saw a doctor about my throat. And I said, what about my throat? She came and she held my throat and she just moved her hands like that. And she said, do me a favor, go see a doctor. I went to my doctor, they told me no problem. I went to a second and a third doctor, they said no problem. I told them what the students say, and one doctor said, oh, the students see problems where there are no problems. Turn out, this medical boat, well, not this same one, the Comfort, but a team of US naval medics were coming to Grenada. And I would go every day to find out how many people they saw for the day and what was the problem. And when I heard the amount of issues Grenadians had with their throats, I jokingly said to him, well, I better check you with my throat. Turned out that I had thyroid cancer and cells that were already damaging my throat. And I did the surgery there at no cost to me, nor the government of Grenada. And I didn't have a voice from October 2003 to June 2004, much to the delight of my 3 young children. But they're good. Sometimes, I mean, the US seem to be one of the best set of, you might have to pay through your nose, but they're good. They know what they're doing. So unlike St. Lucia, I would encourage people to go out. And it's not because I worked with the US government, it's because that I have proof that they're good. And Anthony, as you say, you're medical, you need your medical, you're up there. So the people who listen and tell your friends, tell your family, try and go and see if you could get your problem solved while they're here. So I understand, Anthony, that you need to be up there.
Benedict Cador, Benedict says, did they say that the U.S. medical boat was coming as a result of a Chinese boat visiting a couple of years ago? And Margaret says, probably.
More than likely.
Sherron, let's see here. Patricia Wilson says, Sherron, I do not agree that those with influence must encourage the citizens to break the law.
Well, I said already.
Hold on. She says, but I do share your perspective.
Yeah.
I think we all agree on that. We do agree on that. Okay. John says, Benedict, the Chinese hospital boat was in Grenada last year. So yes, maybe. Will you guys behave yourselves now, please?
Yeah,
Behave yourselves. Tell them you have to get out a whip here. Claude Pudna says a little while ago, this is about the conversation we were having a few minutes ago, he says, George, you are so right. Sheldon is one of them. I think he's referring to Sheldon Scott. You know, Sheldon is not a Grenadian, but he's always telling Grenadians, you know, what they should do.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
I think he's a sore spot. I met a couple of guys on the beach on Saturday, and when they were talking about this person who used these negative words to describe people, I didn't have a clue. Because I'm sorry, but I don't take the time out to listen to negative stuff. I do. So I mostly don't listen to some of the radio stations here. I know people say you need to listen what's going on so you know. But guess what? In that sense, I'm very selfish. I am concerned about my health and I protect myself when necessary. And these stations are not good for my health. They make my blood pressure go up.
Okay.
So.
Margaret says, John, my aunt went to the Chinese boat. Her experience was not a good one. Luckily, she was smart enough to say no. Not sure I'd want to recommend them. Now, Benedict Cador is saying, Replay the national report. I'm not sure why you're asking us to replay the national report, but I'm sure it's something hilarious. Anyhow, Ian Roberts says, how is it that U.S. residents don't have free health care, but they're giving it to us free? How come?
I don't know.
That's,
Well, you know,
that's an interesting question, Ian. That's an interesting...
There's a saying that charity begins at home, but in the US it doesn't. You know the amount of people that's starving and waking up in the US today without a meal?
Yeah.
And how much money they're giving to Israel every year? I mean, think about what's happening to your own people. And then they turn around and I was about to say they want you to vote for them, but the reality, they don't want black people to vote. They would rather that you don't.
Margaret says it's called it's called soft diplomacy. All right, Anthony DeRiggs. Hold on a sec here. Anthony DeRiggs says, Arthur, you are late. Arthur Langine only just showed up now that the program is ending. He says, Arthur, you're late. Years ago, teachers gave us detention for that.
I had a headmaster once when I was teaching in Vendome who actually pulled out his belt because I pulled in late. Like I was 2 minutes late. Assembly was going on.
To flog you.
And this headmaster took out his belt and I had to say to him, I said, if you touch me, because I saw him hit a teacher before. And I said to him, I said, if you touch me, I will have to kill you.
Please,
and he looked at me, he said, what? I said, no. I said, Ewan, my father never one day hit me. I said, if you hit me, I will have to kill you.
No.
Needless to say, I resigned from that job. I was teaching in Vietnam.
Oh, he pulled out his belt to flog you as a teacher?
Me. Yes.
As a teacher?
As a teacher, of course. You thought I was a student? No, I was a teacher.
Oh.
And I got up that day and my mother was sick. So I had to take care of her before I left the house. And that headmaster wanted to flog me as a teacher for being late.
Don Mark says we all need to protect our energy and be aware of what we allow around us.
Exactly. That's why I had pruning last year. I got rid of all negative people in my life.
Okay. Margaret says, Sherron, dogo day. Next thing you go be branded anti-Semitic. Yeah, we wouldn't want that to happen.
Well, my reply is, who cares?
Ryan Jaban says, here in the United States, we want to vote for universal health care, Sherron. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Sherron, girl, listen, I could go on for the rest of the morning, but this has been fun. Let's wrap up on a high note.
Just to tell Ryan that I lived in England and the health system there is very, very good. Very good. It's amazing. You have a baby and you go home and they come every day to bathe the baby, to check on you as a mother and everything. They take care of you. Every quarter you get a notice in your mailbox, appointments for your dentist and everything like that. So the British system, it's doable. So I don't know, it's just politics they're playing in the US.
Okay. Ian Roberts says, how about showing some soft diplomacy to the refugees on the US southern border? Yeah, another thinking man out there, Ian.
Yep.
And Margaret says, no argument there. All right, folks, time to pull the curtain down. Thank you so much, my dear, for joining us. Interesting program coming up on Sunday. I hope you're going to be able to join us for that. And are we going to the beach tomorrow morning?
Of course. Is the Pope Catholic?
Is the Pope Catholic, yeah. Even if there's snakes?
Oh. I just have
Folks,
to be more vigilant.
A little snake.
I have to be more vigilant, but to God, no. To the snake.
Still a lot of grapes down there, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Had my fill.
Yeah.
That was breakfast today.
Absolutely. Take care, my dear.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
We are honored to partner with the Grenada Schools, Inc., the Ministry of Education, and the Caliste Government School in providing this library. GCPI program put $120,000 or 66% of the cost of the library. But it's not an investment that is intended to bring a financial return. It is an investment in the human capital of our youth in Grenada.
GRENADA has shown us their seriousness about partnership, their seriousness about education, and their seriousness about nation building. That local partnership tells our major donors that Grenada is interested.
We have got a big vision at Grenada Schools. We believe that what we can do is, through literacy, have the most literate country in the Caribbean. We are very happy that you got this gift from ourselves and from GRENADA.
We see this library as a unique and valuable resource. One of the best things about receiving this library is that it honors and recognizes the efforts and contributions of a company like GRENADA and Grenada Schools Incorporated.
Since 1994, GRENADA shareholders have invested over $22 million. This has been invested in the communities throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. We hope this library will serve the students and school well for many years to come.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Alrighty, folks, time to hightail it out of here. It's now, let's see here, about 7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Parting word from the Holy Scriptures, Matthew chapter 6, 1 verse, 24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. Matthew chapter 6, 24. Okie dokie. I think that's it. All right, folks. Time for Georgie Porgy to scoot here on this beautiful morning. Actually, when I came in, it was beautiful. Haven't had a look outside the last few minutes. But I do hope that you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and the rest of your week and the rest of your life. May God bless you. And by His grace. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9.